What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys. Well, I want to talk about Riftwatchers for DEC, the proposal, the remixed proposal that will probably be making its way over to us very soon based on today's town hall. And yes, I will be working on a 5 biggest takeaways from today's town hall. It's just, there was a lot. There was a lot in there, and I'm still organizing the information. I'd love to give it another listen before actually putting my thoughts together for that. So I wanted to attack this just because it's a hot topic in Discord right now, and I'm sure many people are going to be hearing this as probably one of the main takeaways from the town hall. But again, there was so much in there. So the proposal that Matt said was that Riftwatchers would once again be proposed to be sold in DEC, and I'm assuming not DEC at market value, but for 5,000 DEC. But this time, the twist would be to burn that DEC. Now, what is the difference? Well, the DAO would not be getting funded, and then the difference between the last time is that, DEC is much closer to peg now than it was way back in November, which is when I think the first time this was proposed, where people would be getting like a 40% discount, as well as it also being like a month after the presale had happened, or a little bit more than a month after the presale had happened. So there's just a lot of hurt feelings there. I was one of them. I voted emotionally against it. I don't regret that decision, but moving forward, I do think that this should be priced in DEC. I think enough time has passed. In fact, I thought that enough time had passed early on this year. If you had just given it 3 months from when Riftwatchers had been released to the end of the year, early of 2023, that would have been fine. But looking at it now, we're much closer to peg. There's still 2 million or almost 2 million packs to be sold, right? We've only sold 1 million out of the 3 million total, or a little over 1 million. And the reason why I am actually in favor of burning the DEC is because that is what the precedent was for all previous sets. Orbs and Dice all burned DEC as a way to regulate the economy and give value overall to to burn any excess DEC. Now, what's changed between now and then is the fact that we have the DAO, and the DAO needs some type of funding. And the second part is that we also have the flywheel effect that was introduced a little over a year ago, or a little under a year ago, I should say. So with that being the case, let's tackle this in a couple different ways, or a couple different things. When it comes to the DAO, I am not worried about the DAO getting SPS because, and if we look at this, I have the SPS white paper open here, you can see that the DAO is set to get 300 million tokens over 65 months, of which it's been slowly receiving them over time. And when you look at all of the other distributions that we will need to make use of at some point or another, the play to earn rewards obviously being the big one, staking rewards will be another part. We're done with the airdrop, but then LP rewards, Oracle, all that stuff, right? Validated rewards. All of that will need to be taken care of, but we do have like 3+ years before we need to actually start replenishing that. Now, I'm not saying we save it all the way until the end of that 3 years, but I am saying that there is time, whereas right now we are still dealing with the overhang of DEC from the airdrop, right? And it's interesting that Matt was even saying, he came on and admitted it as a mistake, which I don't necessarily think it was. I mean, I think at the time, it was short-sighted, and they were trying to give utility to SPS, but ultimately, the mistake that he said was that pricing it in SPS, it never should have been priced in SPS. But so much has changed since that time, right? It's been almost a year and a half since that post announcing Riftwatchers came out. We have the flywheel, obviously the DEC overhang has been felt, right? We understand that there's just a lot out there. We have a better, clearer picture. So going back to the DAO, when I think about this, right? When I think about the fact that the DAO needs to be funded and we need to find ways to do it in an ongoing manner, we have time for that. There are opportunities for upcoming sets. There are opportunities, mini sets. There are opportunities for promotions, right? And stuff like this can actually be done by the community, right? By the community, where you look at Vroos. Like Vroos, for example, could have also required, in addition to a voucher, or maybe instead of a voucher, we could have required 10 SPS or 100 SPS, whatever it is, right? And again, I'm not saying that that's necessarily perfect or not, but there will be solutions that we can implement, and there will be time to do it. What I think is important right now, switching this back over to the DEC side, is that DEC, we're trying to get the flywheel activated. And the reason that I think that this is really important, I'm going to tie it back to the Dow once again. The reason I think this is really important is because of the fact that we can burn a ton of SPS and drive the value of SPS higher. So just quick numbers that I want to share here, right? You got 2 million SPS, or sorry, 2 million Riftwatcher packs. You sell each of those for 5,000 DEC, and I'm gonna make sure I pull my calculator out because I don't want to have a mental math accident again. But you got 2 million SPS, right? Oh, that's 20 million times 5,000 DEC. This would burn 10 billion DEC, which is actually more than what land would burn. And not only that, it would regulate the economy because it would help to push DEC back to peg, because anytime DEC was below peg, people would look at Riftwatcher packs and be like, wait, I can get a discount. Like right now, you can get an 11% discount on Riftwatcher packs if they were priced in DEC. So we start burning tons and tons of DEC, and you can see that there's only 5 billion DEC, at least on Hive Engine, right? There might be more on other chains, but again, a majority of it's going to be here in game because that's where the actual utility for DEC exists. So if you see that, right? And we're going to burn almost double that. Imagine how much SPS is going to burn. Imagine how much value you can drive through DEC to SPS. And so, this is not a price prediction, but what I'm trying to say here is if we are able to, in the next couple of years, right, in the next 3 years that I'm going to give as a timeline, if we're able to implement the right things to drive that type of value to SPS, and now these 3 years also include hopefully an upcoming Bitcoin bull run after the Bitcoin halving. But if we can 100x SPS, right, get it to, we'll say, almost $3 essentially, what is that going to do for the distribution of rewards that need to be replaced? Well, all of a sudden you got 300 million SPS, right? That's going to be given out to the DAO over that time. And when you think about the fact that we need to give out so much, or that we give out so much in rewards, for example, right? Land rewards is 6.25 million SPS per month. I think ranked battle rewards are given out here. Let's see here. Ranked battle rewards is 7.5 million per month. Now these are all decreasing, right, by 1% per month. But let's just look at the base values here. If we are able to 100x the value, the price of SPS between now and whenever we need to replace it, we don't need to be giving out 7.5 million SPS per month. We could still be giving the same value the same dollar value by only giving out 75,000 SPS per month, because you will then only need to give 1/100th of this. So the amount of SPS that will be given out in the future will be significantly less, but the value of that SPS will be much higher. So this to me represents exactly what we want to do with this whole flywheel concept, right? We want so much utility to go into DEC and then for that to be burned, right? And a lot of what we've been looking at has been land. A lot of what we've been looking at or speculating about is or our guilds. But really, I mean, that number stands out to me so much. We'd be burning 10 billion DEC and therefore 10 billion DEC worth of SPS. You can't tell me that that's not going to help drive so much of that value into the SPS token. And so therefore, again, I'm not as worried about the future because, let me rephrase that so it doesn't get clipped out of context. I'm not as worried because we have time we have time to implement solutions for the DAO to get ongoing, right? To get ongoing and even one-off opportunities to feed itself, right? So whether that's like a market fee, and I know there's already a market listing fee, but imagine if we had other types of things that were automatically going into there. Or one thing that I suggested was that we have SPS being burned for land, right? Anything that is any part of the tax that is not attainable, and there will always be part that's not attainable because it's on a logarithmic scale. So even if I maximize my production points, there will always be that little amount on my keep or within castles that's just going to be burned within each region and within each tract. So I would say we should just take that and start feeding the DAO back because there's no reason for that necessarily to be burned. But again, what I'm trying to show is that there's many different pathways to getting the DAO funds over time. But one of the things that I think we're not really thinking is not about the quantity of SPS, but really the value or quality, right? The quality / value of SPS. We can increase that because the DAO is guaranteed to get 300 million. Plus, it has already received from the node licenses 15 million SPS there, and another 71 million from the Riftwatcher sale. So again, I'm all for honoring the agreements that were made. So I know some people are probably going to cite the recent proposal that passed for the exchange listing where we wanted to replace the 30 million. I am all for the team potentially pricing future sets in SPS, or maybe having some kind of SPS requirement in addition to DEC, or maybe doing a half and half split. I don't know what it is, but I guess what I'm trying to say is there's so much flexibility for the future, whereas this here and now as a solution to burn the DEC makes sense. Now, Matt was in the Discord or in Math Chat after the town hall and said that even if people didn't want the burning mechanism, pricing it in DEC is still better than pricing it in SPS. There's no reason for that to be the case. People shouldn't be wanting to part with their SPS. So it seems as though we're going to get a proposal in one way or another. My suggestion, I replied directly to him, was to actually have this as two separate proposals so that there's no confusion and people don't vote one way or another because they feel strongly about one aspect but not the other. So if we do two proposals, the first of which would be to price this in DEC for Riftwatchers, and then the second one to be to price to whether to burn it or to give it to the DAO. I think that's the best course of action. Now, I will tell you right now, as somebody who who voted against it last time, I'm very much planning to vote for it now. Enough time has passed, and DEC is much more close to its peg. So I think, like, again, the timing of it was just not great last time, and obviously everything else that happened at the end of the year was just it was just a rough time, obviously. So let me just put it that way. That is where I stand right now. I think that it should definitely be priced in DEC, and more importantly, I am very much in favor of burning that DEC and finding alternative ways for the DAO to earn, even if it means using future sets and manipulating future sets or future agreements or deals. Sorry. Once again, I don't mean for it to sound like we're manipulating, but being flexible on future deals and agreements or whatever the case is, or offering future proposals for and from the community that will fund the DAO over time in addition to what it's already going to get. But I see, if we can get SPS literally to the moon, then there's just so much more optionality with it, right? Because SPS is fractional. So right now, it's hard to see it because it's just like we need as much SPS as possible. But the flip side of that is that we already have a lot of SPS. If we can make the value of SPS significantly higher, then that's where things get really fun and exciting. So that's all I have for you guys in this video. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, though, and how you feel, and if you will or will not be voting against either of the aspects that were talked here. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We'll continue the discussion there. I'll catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.